and welcome to Horror Rewind. This is Kelly Florence.
And I'm Meg Hofdahl.
And this week we're talking about Beetlejuice. I was trying to sing the song, but I couldn't remember how it goes.
I thought maybe you just forgot what we were doing.
It's like dun 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 or something.
Yeah, that was good.
Okay. Or I could have said Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice.
That's true. You could have.
But I didn't. How are you, Meg?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. We are recording while we're in Atlanta, which is amazing.
Yes, it's beautiful here. This is my first time, actually. I've never been to Atlanta. How about you?
I've just been through, so I have not been here. Definitely not here in Peachtree City, which is lovely and amazing, and it feels like we're on the set of a horror movie in a good way.
Yeah, it's so quiet right now, and there's just like these beautiful trees, those canopied trees that you kind of imagine when you think of the grand old South. So yeah, it's beautiful here, and you're right. I could imagine Pennywise or Leatherface or somebody skulking around here.
Definitely. I was looking out into there's a water, it's a pond or something, and I had to do a double take. It was some sort of monitor sticking up out of the water, and I thought for a moment it was Jason.
But how cool would it have been if it was Jason?
Yeah. It would have actually been even cooler, but anyway. But we're here for the Women in Horror Film Festival, and we're so excited. Lots of fun stuff happening, and we will be updating you with posts, and, well, you'll already have seen this, and then also we'll be sharing some recordings from this weekend with you.
Yeah, I'm really excited about this whole weekend, and I'm still kind of thinking about Jason, though, how cool it would have been. Yeah. You did say it kind of felt like camp here.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it does have that vibe of camp because you have to walk on these trails through the woods to get from building to building. It's not all, like, attached, so something could definitely happen to us here.
Ooh, we haven't done it in the nighttime yet. Ooh.
So, yes, this will be fun. Let me tell you about this movie, Beetlejuice. Did you see this in the theater?
No, I did not see it in the theater.
You know, I don't remember seeing it in the theater, but this was one of those movies I watched tens of times.
Oh my gosh. I watched it so much, so many times, not to mention I was really into the cartoon as well.
Okay. And you just got your Lydia tattoo like a month ago.
I did. Lydia Dietz is so important to me, and I'll get into all that. But yes, I got a Lydia tattoo, and from the time I was small, I absolutely loved Lydia. My mom is a talented artist, and she had made me a Mickey Mouse and Minnie Mouse poster for my room. And right after I saw Beetlejuice for the first time, I took down my Minnie and Mickey, and I said, I need Lydia and Beetlejuice now.
Oh, did your mom make you a poster of them?
She did. I had a poster, hand-drawn poster. I can't remember. I remember Beetlejuice was saying something. I can't remember what. And it was Lydia in the red dress. And yeah, I had a poster that she had drawn for me in my room. So
that's so amazing. I wonder if you have a picture of that.
I don't know. I should kind of go back into the old photo albums and see. I would love to see if I could find that. That'd be amazing.
It's those little things that we take for granted that we don't think we want pictures of or that aren't important. But this is a side note. Like, I've got a picture of myself in 5th grade, and I have a poster of Bruce Willis behind me because I love moonlighting, and a poster of Madonna because I liked Madonna at the time. But it's like I care more about the posters and what the posters were in my room now looking back on it instead of, like, oh, there's me sitting on my bed. It's like, oh my God, look at the room.
I know you see all these pictures of yourself, like these framed family photos and maybe you in an Easter dress or something, but it's actually more fun. Like, I went through a really hardcore Friends stage, and there's a picture of me in my room in 6th grade, and it's just like Friends everywhere. It's so embarrassing, but it's kind of cool to see.
I had the New Kids on the Block phase. Everything was New Kids on the Block, and those are the more fun pictures. So if you're out there taking pictures of just your life and your kids and whatever, take the candid shots of, like, not dressed up and not posed perfectly.
That makes me realize I need to take pictures of my kids' rooms.
Yes.
And when it's messy, too.
Yeah.
Like, here's what it actually looks like every day. It's a good idea.
Because if you think about how we curate our lives so much, we post, like, the perfect pictures, but I just want to see the messy stuff, the real stuff.
That's true. Like, I always, whenever, I love true crime, and whenever I'm watching, like, a Dateline or something, and they're showing, like, the photos of okay, here's the dead body blurred over here. But I'm like, oh my God, their house is so messy. Please don't, if I get murdered, please don't put that on Dateline with like my dirty towels on the floor. But maybe we should take pictures like that, minus the dead body.
Yeah, right. Okay, so Beetlejuice. It was directed by Tim Burton. Tim Burton. What can we say? We've spoken a bit about him, but what an influence on our lives, my life, your life.
I think Tim Burton's the first director that I was like, okay, I like this director. You know, it's easy to be like, I like this actor or I like this style, but Tim Burton was definitely the first one where I like started to make the connections. When I was about 11, I saw Ed Wood. And I know that's not one of his more famous ones, but I absolutely love that movie. It did something to me in a similar way that Beetlejuice did, and Edward Scissorhands.
Oh my gosh.
And the Batman.
Yeah.
I fell absolutely head over heels in love with Jack Nicholson when I was 5 years old and I saw Batman for the first time. So I don't know, Tim Burton. Now, what do you think about lately?
Well, you know, I have to admit I haven't seen the Alice in Wonderland movies because they just don't interest me. But I do love Tim Burton. I don't know.
I know, like, I don't know what it is in my mind, but I haven't seen Alice movies either. I haven't seen Miss Peregrine's Home even though I read the book. Like, I don't know what else I need for me to watch it. And what else? Well, I loved Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
Yeah, me too.
And my boys love that one too. I think that's like the last movie he did that I like really. Well, what did you think of Dark Shadows?
I liked it. I went in thinking, being completely skeptical, thinking I was not going to enjoy it, but I ended up liking it.
Yeah, I'm drinking Red Stripe right now. This is my first time.
It's Jamaican beer.
It's good. I like the bottle too.
Yeah, it feels like
This
it feels
good.
less sinful because it's only 11.2 ounces.
Yeah. Anyway, Tim Burton, what is it? He just has this aesthetic style, and also he always, no matter the movie, like Sweeney Todd to Beetlejuice to anything, there's like
Nightmare Before Christmas.
Oh my God, he has so many good movies. What do you think about Big Fish?
I love Big Fish.
Yeah, me too. You in?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. I feel like he and Johnny Depp need to like do something else together, which I know you're like, no, Meg, no, they've done enough. But I feel like they just need to like recharge and like do something kind of off. I think Alice in Wonderland was not the right fit.
I don't know. See, okay, here's my confession. I have never been a big Alice in Wonderland fan. I've just never loved that world. And I think it's because it made me nervous as a kid. Like, everybody's so obnoxious and she can't get out and it feels too dangerous for me. I don't know. I couldn't ever enjoy it.
Wasn't there like a live action, like, Carol Channing? Does that sound familiar? Okay, I remember like it's kind of scaring me, like it not being like right. But I don't know. Isn't it? I've heard it was like some fever dream that he had that he wrote. So I don't know. I don't really care about Alice in Wonderland either.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, if you like it, tell us. Tweet us and tell us what's good about it. Maybe we'll have to sit down and watch it some night. But Tim Burton. So, did you know that the Beetlejuice, the original script was actually much darker? Have you read this?
No.
So, the original script had Beetlejuice intending to rape and murder.
OMG! Well, I guess I could see rape. He's really rapey.
Yeah. But they went a different way. Tim Burton said, I love the script, but it needs to be more whimsical and happier. And in the original version, also, Beetlejuice ended up getting killed, but test audiences, or exorcised, test audiences wanted a happy ending because they liked Beetlejuice, so they ended up changing the ending and having that little scene at the end with the guy whose number he steals.
I love that so much. I love that people loved Beetlejuice because I feel like it's Michael Keaton that did that.
Yeah.
And okay, first of all, I definitely will talk about this. I recognize Beetlejuice is extremely problematic, and he's even worse than, Bill Murray at his absolute worst in Ghostbusters. But I love him too.
I know. See, I've said this before on a previous episode. I was like, Lydia, just marry him. Like, I love him. But of course, no, Lydia should not marry him.
No, I think that was a good a good thing that she didn't. See, and that's why as a kid I loved the cartoon then, because I felt like with the movie I just wanted more and more and more.
Right.
And I got to have like their little stories every week on the cartoon. And Beetlejuice to me is one of those things I wish I had written it. Don't you?
Yeah.
I mean, there's just those movies that you see and you're like, I wish I was a part of that in some way. It's so good. And it's like the inside of my brain.
So, speaking of the writing, you wish you had written it. A few more things about the original script that were changed. Lydia's lip sync, which, you know, of course is so famous, and Harry Belafonte, and that Calypso vibe. The original song in the script that she lip synced to, have you heard what it was?
No.
When a Man Loves a Woman.
Ew!
Like, how lame would that have been?
Oh my god!
Yeah, and so this is, Tim Burton said, no, let's go a different direction with that one. But Tim Burton was not great, in my opinion, for his original pick for Beetlejuice. He originally wanted Sammy Davis Jr. to play the role.
I don't even know what to do. I think my brain's gonna explode. Sammy Davis Jr.?
I know.
That sounds like another bad, like, SNL sketch.
It does. Okay, so a couple of other changes from the script. The original title for Beetlejuice, the movie, was Scared Sheetless.
Okay. I don't know. I don't know. Okay.
So, you know, sheet as in sheets off the bed.
Right.
Scared
No,
sheetless.
right.
And then, and then originally Beetlejuice was exorcised and dead, but they brought him back. So I think those changes to the script are amazing. And this is why writers need editors, right?
Not me, but no, I'm just kidding. Speaking of, my first novel, Scared Sheetless, is coming out soon.
Starring Sammy Davis Jr.
I don't even know.
It's told from Sammy Davis Jr.'s perspective.
Oh, he's haunting us. Okay, let's be serious. That's not okay.
No. Beetlejuice was very popular at the box office. It had a $15 million budget. It took in $73 million. It has an 82% on Rotten Tomatoes. And it won an Oscar for Best Makeup.
Okay, so I want to know what you think about this. My husband doesn't get this movie. He doesn't understand it. Like, not that he doesn't understand the plot. He just is like, I don't
He doesn't get why people love it?
Yeah. He's like, it's so bizarre, and like, what is your deal? Like, why do you love it so much? I know.
Okay, so asking the question of somebody, because I love it so much and I feel like it's a part of me.
Yeah, me too.
Maybe that's extreme.
No,
Maybe I'm being dramatic.
No.
But I don't understand how anybody cannot love it. Okay, Lydia's amazing. Let's get your thoughts on that in a moment. Her mother as a character is fantastic and frightening and wonderful and horrible at the same time. The couple, Gina Davis and Alec Baldwin, young Alec Baldwin. I mean, my God, it's perfect. And Michael Keaton. So this is pre-Batman. He worked with Tim Burton. Tim Burton said, hey, I can see you as Batman now. And who knew that Michael Keaton was so great? Well, we do.
I mean, can you imagine casting somebody as Beetlejuice and Batman? Like,
No.
it's so... But obviously, he's very versatile.
I don't think Ben Affleck could be Beetlejuice.
He would be so lazy. Don't you feel like he'd be like a lazy Beetlejuice?
Yeah, I don't think there's enough special effects makeup in the world to make him Beetlejuice in my mind.
What you're saying about the mom, I feel like the mom is one of the best villains of all time because she's real. She's a real villain. And yes, I understand she has her good points. I'm sure she's not a horrible person, but that's what makes her such a good villain is that it seems like Beetlejuice, and I realize that he has villainous elements about him, but the mom is like the true villain of the movie. Or is that just me?
No, I totally agree. She's passive aggressive, she's selfish. She only cares about herself and her art, which is terrible, but she doesn't think so. And she just doesn't get it. She doesn't get Lydia at all. And the husband, it doesn't seem like they should be together. I don't know. That's just me.
No, and there's something almost villainous about him, too, because he's so passive and just not... Is one of them her step-parent?
I think I think that's her stepmom.
Okay. Yeah, I couldn't remember. So here's the thing that I realized so if you see me, like, what I wear is, like, more gothic, right? I like kind of a gothic style when I dress. Well, I was at a furniture store the other day. So I'm walking around. I've gone on a date with my husband, and I've got kind of a gothic look to me. And I'm looking at, like, farmhouse furniture. And I stopped and I realized, wouldn't you say that my house is, like, farmhouse style? And it does not jive with, like, my personal aesthetic. And I realized, oh my God, I've always wanted the house from Beetlejuice before the mom destroys it. And that's what I've been doing my whole life. Like, I was, like, standing there looking at couches going, oh my God, I'm trying to achieve the farmhouse from Beetlejuice.
I just had an epiphany, an aha moment, because I didn't realize that that's where you were going.
Like, because I've always wanted, like, kind of a house with that similar vibe, where it's, like, this kind of old school vibe. Even though aesthetically, you'd think that I would want, like, skulls all around because that's how I dress. But my house is, like, completely different. And I realized I'm trying to have Lydia's house the way she wanted it.
Aw, I love that. Yeah, that's interesting. I guess, I mean, also with houses in general, I feel like we can't just decorate for ourselves. Maybe we can eventually if we become empty nesters, but it's more about the family. So I've got my spaces that I really goth up or, horror up, but not everywhere.
That's true. I mean, you do have to, like, have kids over to play with your kids, and you don't want to scare people away. Yeah, that's true. That's very true.
So let's start talking about the movie. I mean, we have been talking about the movie, but sort of like timeline wise. What is the word I'm looking for? It starts with an L.
I was going to say chronologically.
Yeah.
Kelly, that doesn't start with an L.
Linearly is what I was. Okay, so I love Alec Baldwin owns this hardware store, and I've always loved the old man sitting outside of it. Like, that's one of my favorite things, and he's, like, telling the story, and he keeps telling the story even after he goes in and leaves, because that was both of my grandpas growing up. Like, they would just talk if anybody was listening or nobody was there.
Aww.
Do you know any old people like that, or just people?
Hi, Dad. Are you listening?
But yeah, I just love that old man. And then to save the dog, they end up perishing.
So my kids are, like, really fixated on that. And, like, after seeing the movie for the first time, which they watched it with me when I was rewatching it, and that was their first time seeing it, they keep talking about if the dog wasn't there, they'd still be alive. Like, I don't know. That's really, like, what am I trying to say? It really wormed into their brains.
Like a sandworm.
Like a sandworm. They're just, like, really fixated on that point, and I'm like, you're right. And they're like, it's that dog's fault.
They're faters, or what is that? When you, like, really believe, that each thing.
I guess so.
The butterfly effect? I don't know.
Yeah. I'm like, but then, if the dog wasn't there, we wouldn't have a movie, so.
I know. Every time somebody brings it up, it's like, oh, if they had just done this. Well, they didn't, so just watch the movie. Thanks.
Yeah. Fuck you. I hate people when they watch movies like, don't watch a movie like that.
I know.
Ugh.
Anyway, they realize that they're dead, and they're just so lovely. They're just so innocent and pure.
Hey, if that's what happens when you die, is that you get to stay in your house with your spouse if you die with each other. It doesn't seem that bad, of course, until things happen. But at first, it's like, that wouldn't be so bad. I think they actually kind of enjoy it, don't they?
Yeah, I think so too. And then, of course, the new family moves in, and they're terrible. But Lydia can see them. So tell us about your love for Lydia.
Okay, so I wrote a little blog piece the other day about why I got a Lydia tattoo. So what I love about Lydia is that she is all things at once. And what I mean by that is that she's still a child. She sees everything in this sort of dark way, but she still has curiosity. She's not like a depressed goth that I thought I had to be, or that, I don't know. For me, I really struggled with being a quote-unquote goth because I felt like I was too optimistic, too happy. But Lydia kind of showed me that I could be all things. I'm like having this heart-to-heart moment. And we don't have a bottle opener in the hotel room. Let's just say that. But anyway, I love Lydia because she is all the things that I am, that I want to be, and she's so unapologetic about it. She's like, this is me, I live in darkness, but I'm also still a child, I still laugh, I still have fun. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. And I love what you wrote in the piece about how even though she's dark and likes all these dark things and death, she's still moral, and you can be both. And I thought that was really enlightening, because it's true. It doesn't mean that you're going to go out and murder people just because you like horror movies.
I think that was something I struggled with as a child, is that people would be like, oh, I gotta stay away from you, or like, it was like if I said, oh, I love Lizzie Borden, I love Beetlejuice, I want to be like Lydia, I love all that stuff. I love listening about true crime and all those things. People made me feel like that wasn't socially acceptable. And I guess, yeah, she was like, no, you can be like that, and you can be moral. You can be a good person still.
Yeah, I love that. The famous scene, well, she's talking about killing herself, which, many people have struggled with, the thoughts of suicide. And she says that her life is one big dark room. And it's so wonderful and tragic and sad, but so true and real. And that too really connected with me as a teen, because it does feel like the end of the world sometimes, and it's definitely not.
Yeah, I mean, we've all been there. I mean, yeah, especially I think as teenagers, we're in when life does seem like one big dark room, and things do seem like so important that you realize now that I'm in my 30s, we're not important at all, but they seem that way. And I love that, she doesn't commit suicide and everything's okay, but we got to have that complicated dark moment though, which is cool.
Yeah, I love it. So we don't get to see Beetlejuice until, well, we hear his voice, but then we don't see him for a little while yet. He is in only 17 and a half minutes of a 92-minute movie, which is kind of interesting.
When you think about how the movie's named after him, and you think about what you think of when you think about Beetlejuice, that he's in such, I mean, I don't know what percent that is, but it's not even half. No. Not even a quarter. Maybe a quarter. But that's crazy. But he's so funny and so unlike any character that exists.
Yeah.
And very rapey.
Yeah. He's not great. But why do I don't forgive him for being bad, but I still love him. I don't know. What is it about loving villains?
When Bill Murray is doing his shtick in Ghostbusters, it's more threatening because he actually is angling for something. When Beetlejuice is doing it, he doesn't actually think Gina Davis is going to have sex with him. I don't think. I mean, not that it's ever excusable, but maybe there's just a different threat level or something. I don't know, because he's so over the top. And he's just like, honk, honk. Yeah. Like, he's just so, I don't know. It's definitely still not okay. But he is dead. Maybe that's part of it. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know either. But I do. Oh, telemarketer.
You guys, this is a PSA. Don't fricking give your number out to anyone.
You should also silence your phone.
Oh, yeah. And it's a PSA. Also silence your phone if you have a podcast. Sorry. That's my 14th call today.
Like, she literally got 14 calls from telemarketers, separate telemarketers. What is happening? That's not okay. Get on a do not call list, Meg.
Maybe it's Beetlejuice. Or no, maybe it's Ghost. Maybe when we answer the Oh, right. They're calling me a second. Okay, you guys,
we're going to record
listen.
this. Put it on speaker.
Hello?
Hi, is this Mr. or Mrs. Hafto?
Yes, it is. Who's this speaking?
This is Lynn Dexter's teacher calling.
Oh, hi! Sorry, I'm so sorry. I've had so many telemarketers call me today. I was like, I'm sure it's one of them right now.
Okay, so what are the chances that Meg actually gets a real call?
It was my kid's teacher. It said no caller ID on it.
snark recorded.
I was such a bitch. Oh no! Oh my god! She was calling me to tell me that he's such a good kid.
He definitely doesn't get it from the mom.
And then, like, at least if she was calling to tell me, like, he was a dick at school, but it was that he's good. Oh, God, I feel terrible.
But, like, what are the chances?
I've had so many telemarketers call me. I'm like, who's speaking?
Oh, my God. And I almost said something out loud, like, well, you pronounced the last name wrong.
Oh. Okay.
This is also a lesson.
That's a PSA for you. Don't assume that it's a telemarketer after 14 telemarketer calls, because it could be your son's first grade teacher. Oh, I was about to rip her head off.
Wow.
I wonder if she's one of the ones I blocked. Is that why I said no caller? Well, whatever. Anyway, oops.
Wow, okay. What are the chances?
This is what you were talking about about recording the dirty moments of life.
Yeah. This is not curated for the best of you.
God. Should you, like, bleep out her name?
Oh, yeah, I won't keep her name. Okay. I won't keep her name. Okay, so let's continue talking about Beetlejuice. Like, what are the chances?
It said
That's
no
so
caller.
funny.
It said block call. I'm like, oh, I'm ready.
I know, and I was like,
yeah.
I'm in there with the recording equipment.
Oh.
Okay, it's fine. Maybe you can send a follow-up email.
Yeah.
And say thank you and, like...
I handled it okay.
Yeah, you did. You did. Oh my God, okay, that was one of the funniest things I've ever witnessed in my entire life.
Okay, we have to talk about Beetlejuice.
Okay, Beetlejuice. Yeah, so I don't know why sometimes I'm quick to forgive villains, but like Meg, the villain.
I am the villain of this story. She's like, probably just got the phone. It's like, what the fuck is wrong with that woman? She answers the phone like a psycho.
You know, it's okay though. Like, taking it out of context. She doesn't know. I mean, she just maybe thinks you're super, like... I don't know.
Which I am.
Yeah, yes. It's fine. It's fine.
Okay. Yeah.
Lydia, she loves photography. Before it was cool, she's the original hipster.
She is. That's a good point. And her clothes may be goth, but they do have a hipster element. That's true. And you're right with the photography. And I love that she has that thing that is artistic that she does. It's not like her identity is based on anything else, you know?
Right. The other thing I love, and yeah, I know that you relate to this too, is that she's very pale, and we're both very fair-skinned. And like, if I go out, it's hard for me to tan. I just burn. And she's very pale and doesn't spend a lot of time in the sun. And I feel like I get that.
Well, and like I was saying, she's so unapologetic about how she was. I felt as a kid and in my teens and all that, I felt like I had to... I mean, I always... I've been comfortable in my own skin, but I always felt like I had to apologize for liking dark things, and I think it's taken me a while to be like, nope, this is who I am, and I'm okay with it. It definitely took me a while. When Lydia's just, like, swathed in black lace, and she's like, I'm not going outside, and I just love it!
I love it, too. So, what would you do if you met some ghosts in your house, like Lydia does as a teenager? Would you be as cool as she was with it?
I wish I would be that cool. I don't know. I feel like as a teenager, don't you feel like you would accept things more? I feel like I'm like, I think you guys know, I don't believe in that kind of stuff, so I'm so, like, staunch about that now. It'd probably take me a while to, like, accept that they're ghosts or something. I don't know. While as a child, I'd probably be more like, ooh, yay, ghosts.
Yeah. I love that moment when she is taking the Polaroids and then she sees that they don't have feet and that they really are ghosts. I love that moment.
I'm still thinking about, like, if Dexter's teacher hates me.
Oh, it's gonna be fine. If you're listening, Dexter's teacher, we didn't mean anything against you. We really thought it was a telemarketer.
All right, what did you just say?
I
was
love
zoning
when
out.
I love when Lydia discovers on the Polaroid that they have no feet and they really are ghosts.
Oh, yeah. At first she thinks it's her parents and that they're doing weird sex stuff. And then she's like, oh, my gosh. And she's so cool about it. God, I wish I was as cool as her.
And then when she's like, she doesn't call her stepmom. She actually says her name. I can't think of it right now, but she's like, she's sleeping with Prince Valium tonight. Like, I never got that until I was older, what that meant. But can we talk about when they go through the door and all of the characters on that side?
Oh my gosh. I love it so much. I love this take on the afterlife. It's so unique. I'm so tired of seeing the same stuff. For some reason, we get caught in these webs of like the same, like ghosts are the same way and that everything's the same. And like, it's just such a vibrant, unique take on it.
I just saw a post on Tumblr that said, why are ghosts always from like the 1700s? Couldn't a ghost be from 2007 and say, it's Britney, bitch?
Yeah, exactly. And what I love about it is that it is sort of hellish because you have to take a number and wait. And I mean, there's like a manual. And I mean, it is like the DMV or something, which I think is it's funny.
I love it. And the Lost Souls room is really creepy.
I remember that part being creepy as a kid. So here's a question. Comparing it to when you watched it as a kid and now, do you feel like you felt any different way watching it this time around?
You know, I've seen it so much recently, even recently because my kids like it. So I've rewatched it more often. I guess I understand more how terrible the mother is and not just dismissing it as she's a caricature. Actually, some people are like that.
Yeah, they are. And yeah, I think watching it as a mother now, it's like, wow, she's really dismissive and horrible and selfish.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's something I would take away from it. I love the football team that keeps calling, I can't think of her name. I can't think of her name. The woman in charge. What's her name?
You mean the woman with the smoke coming out of her neck? I don't know, old lady.
No,
I don't know.
I love the football team keeps calling her coach, and they're like, I don't think we survived that crash. She's like, what gave you that idea?
Yeah, she's really sassy, and she's like, I'm too old for this shit. I love every movie should have that character.
Oh, when they come back and it's been a long time and the house is completely different, it's heartbreaking.
I hate that. And it's all, and like, that's why I said, I think I'm like always trying to achieve the house in the beginning because, and I love that Lydia loved the house in the beginning, even though it wasn't gothic. It was just, she wanted to keep it the way the ghost wanted it. And she just hates her mom's terrible sculptures.
What do you think? What do you think about Beetlejuice and his plan to marry Lydia? And what is he gonna do? Is he gonna be free if he marries her? What's going on?
I think so. I think that's what his whole plan is. I think it kind of gets lost because, well, there's so much going on, and his motivations maybe aren't as interesting as others because he is he's just so out there. But I think they did a good job. Like you were saying, they sort of rewrote the ending because I think they did a good job. And maybe that's another thing is that, you know, when we're comparing him to, and I keep comparing him to Bill Murray, just because that's the one we've talked about most recently, I think, in that same light, is maybe because Beetlejuice does get his comeuppance, maybe that is why we could accept it a little bit better. And, like, he is a villain, so we can enjoy him being a villain rather than watch him and go, oh, like, he's really being inappropriate. Because we know that Beetlejuice is not our moral, you know, center of the film.
Right, he's not the hero. Mm-hmm. He is the villain. I love the wedding scene. I don't like the forced marriage, but I love the wedding scene when he's like trying to find her ring and he pulls out a snake and then he ends up taking the ring off a dead finger. It's so funny.
And he's like, she didn't mean anything to me.
It's so great and it's so funny, and the little minister and like the arch being tilted like Tim Burton at his finest.
His aesthetics just speak to me. Like, I'll see stuff sometimes and I'm just like, oh, it makes me think. And like, he's inculcated it so much into his work. Like, even the sandworms have the stripes, and like everything he does just has this beautiful look to it. in awe of his style. And yes, the wedding dress. Oh my God.
I was Googling people who actually got married in Lydia and Beetlejuice garb for their weddings. Like, those people are hardcore. If you got married like that, send us your pictures. We want to post them and see them. I love it. Like, neither of us married horror fans, so we couldn't do that. But good for you guys.
My husband would be like, I don't get this. I don't get this outfit. I don't get this theme of this wedding.
I mean, there are couples who the guys wear camo and the bridesmaids wear, like, bright orange. So, you know, to each their own.
That's my worst fucking nightmare.
So, you know, I think a Beetlejuice-themed wedding would be pretty cool. I just have been rewatching Curb Your Enthusiasm, so I almost did pretty cool. What else do you want to say about this movie?
Gina Davis is amazing, and she continues to be amazing. She is this sort of bastion for females being represented fairly in film, and she just rocks. Young Alec Baldwin, hot or not?
Yeah, he was hot, I guess.
Yeah?
I mean, I was never really in love with him. I never went through an Alec Baldwin phase, but looking back, I think he was hot. I'm not in love with him now either, but what about you?
No, I do. I mean, in this movie, he's cute with the glasses and the, like, plaid shirt and everything. He's cute. But,
yeah.
I mean,
I always got the dad vibe from him.
Yeah. yeah, for sure.
So, yeah. And Michael Keaton. Hurrah.
And Catherine O'Hara. She's amazing. I love her in every Christopher Guest movie, of course. But she's so good in this. What a thankless character to play. She's in Home Alone as the mom. She's done some great work. I just love her. She's amazing. And Canadian.
Oh, a fellow Canadian. Shout out.
One thing I wanted to mention is you sent me that article about... It was like horror movie road trip, and we discussed it on our Anchor station if you guys listen on there. But you can actually go to Vermont and go to quite a few Beetlejuice spots. I'd love to do that someday. You can go on the bridge where they, die. And you can go into a little downtown where the little hardware store is. Unfortunately, the house is not there because apparently... it really was never there. But there's quite a few places. So it's in Vermont. If anybody's been there, I'd love to know. But it sounds very fun.
You know, that reminds me. You mentioned about the things you can visit from horror movies. And you mentioned how your kids were fixated on the dog. There's that great article. I think it's Onion or Clickhole. And it's like all the dogs that you love from these movies are probably dead by now. It's like, that dog is probably dead by now.
Am I the only one who thinks that every time I watch, like, a movie that's, like, older than 5 years? Yeah. I'm like, oh, dead.
Like, is the dog from The Artist dead by now?
Probably. Bummer.
I know. I'm sorry if you're alive, sir.
Sir.
He's listening. He's, like, wearing a bow tie and listening to this podcast.
I feel like acting dogs might be our highest demographic. Our demo.
I almost spit out my beer.
Our demo. Yeah. And abused first grade teachers, of course.
Oh, dear. Oh, my gosh. This will go down in history as they're going to play this tape in court.
Yeah. Just to show my character. We don't need a character witness. Just play this video.
It's a tape. I'm just kidding. It's not a tape.
I always say watch in video and...
Okay. You know what we're going to talk about next? I'm so excited because Lisa is coming. She's coming here to Atlanta. She's coming soon, and she's going to tell us about the Beetlejuice drink she created.
I'm very excited. I feel like I think it's going to look nice. I feel like it's going to be a beautiful looking drink.
She always makes beautiful drinks.
Mm-hmm.
So after Lisa's drink, then we're going to talk about Fast Forward. Stay tuned.
Hi horror friends, Lisa here, and today we're going to be making a cocktail inspired by Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice. All three. Nope, he's not here. Whew. Anywho, today I would like to make with you a little shot I'd like to call Beetle's Goose, because really who knows how to say his name, it sounds fun. So for this, we are going to need rum chata. I'm going to add this to our bar, Kahlua, our charcoal capsules, marshmallow fluff, and green confection sugar, or sprinkles, green, however you want to find them. Green decorative stuff. All right, let's get started. In a small bottle or container, something you can mix it in, go ahead and pour about 2 ounces of Kahlua and empty a capsule of the charcoal into it, the activated charcoal. If you'll recall, you don't want to overdo it on the charcoal. This can absorb things that are already in you, such as medications or whatnot, so go easy. Thank you. Put the charcoal into the 2 ounces of Kahlua, give that little bottle a shake, and then set that aside. I'm going to need you to find a tall shot glass, and with that tall shot glass, grab your marshmallow fluff, take a spoon, go ahead and smear that fluff around the rim, and dip it into your green sugar sparkles. Set that aside. Now go back to your charcoal Kahlua and either use an eyedropper or a spoon, and we want to kind of gently lay this in the bottom of the glass, and I've made that challenging now by decorating the rim of it. So go ahead and put an ounce of the charcoal Kahlua into the shot glass. And now grab your rum chata. We're going to use an ounce of this and grab a spoon, and we're going to slowly spoon this into the shot glass as well. It helps if you take the tip of the spoon and set it against the side of the glass to slowly release it. This is going to help us achieve a layered effect. So go ahead and do that with an ounce of your rum chata, and at the end you should have black on the bottom, white on the top, and green on the tippy top, inspired by our Beetlejuice's aesthetic. And you may shoot this, you may sip this. It's sweet, it's cinnamony, it's delish. Cheers to you, horror friends.
All right, it's time for Fast Forward. Meg, what are you talking to us about this week?
Okay, so I want to tell you guys about a podcast. And it's not Horror Rewind. It is an incredible podcast that I've been binging lately called The Lift. Here's how I would describe it. It is a basically horror podcast. It's fiction, and it's pretty much the closest thing to the Twilight Zone that is out there right now.
Why is it called The Lift?
So it's called The Lift because every episode it's all different characters, and it can be different time periods, but the one thing that is in every episode is that they meet a creepy little girl named Victoria who takes them on a lift ride, an elevator ride in a creepy building. And this building can appear anywhere. And she basically lets them make a choice. And they can make the right choice and get out of the building, or they can make the wrong choice and never leave the building ever again. And basically, it's about characters who've made bad choices in their life, and now they're at a crossroads. It's so good. I kind of say like she's kind of like the Rod Serling of the show.
Who is somebody writing this? Who's writing this?
So there are co-creators, and this is like, it's so good. It's such a high production value. Daniel, I hear him say his name all the time. But anyway, he's amazing. And then there's a co-creator, and they both are kind of the main narrators and do like the voice acting. But it's actually different people who write the episodes, and so they asked me to write an episode of it. So I'm writing.
Okay, that's amazing.
So I've been listening to it, and I'm writing my episode, and so it's been like, it's so humbling because I'm listening to this amazing show, and it's so good. It's so Twilight Zone, which is like my favorite thing, and I get to write an episode. So
oh my gosh, congratulations! I'm so excited.
Thank you. Yeah, I have it. Everyone is so good, and they all take place in amazing settings, and it's very character driven, which is the kind of horror I like to write. And so I've been having so much fun. I'm almost done with my episode. I'm going to be sending it out to them soon. But I'm just, like I said, I'm so humbled they asked me to write one. And you guys check out The Lift. It's on, you can listen to it anywhere. And you can really listen to it in any order. There are kind of more mythology episodes that go back into like why Victoria does what she does. But it's just such wonderful storytelling. So I'm excited to be a part of it.
When is your episode going to air? Do you know?
I don't know yet, but as soon as I do, I will share that with everybody.
Okay, that is awesome. I'm so excited. Now, we have to rank the things that we talked about this week, and we have to come up with a ranking system based on Beetlejuice. Do you have any ideas?
Shrimp hands. Isn't it shrimp hands? Shrimp hands. Do you know what I'm talking about?
No?
When they, at the end of the song, when they're all forced to...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. You know
Yes, I do. Yes, the shrimp. Yes, I do know now.
Okay, so shrimp hands.
Okay, out of 0 to 10 shrimp hands, 0 being you hated it, 10 being it's a perfect movie, how many shrimp hands do you give Beetlejuice?
I give it 10. Shrimp hands. It's Beetlejuice. My God. If you don't give Beetlejuice 10, what are you even doing?
I agree. I give it a 10. I love this movie. I think I had it on VHS or recorded off of something, and I would watch it once a day sometimes.
Here's the thing, though. Do you consider it horror?
It's horror comedy, right?
I think so. I mean, I think it is. By the way, I just wanted to let everybody know it's Daniel Foytik and Cynthia Lohman who created The Lift, and they're amazing, and it's through Ninth Story Studios, and they also do The Wicked Library. So I just wanted to share that.
Okay, thank you. So yeah, I think it's horror comedy.
Yeah, I think it's horror comedy too. Sometimes I'm like, well, I don't know if it really counts as horror.
But like Nightmare Before Christmas is horror, but it's not like, it's for kids, you know? I mean, it's for a younger audience.
That's true. I think that having a narrow thought of what horror is probably is not a good idea because it can be so many things. So I agree. I love this movie so much, and I have Lydia on my arm to just remind me of who I want to be. And I love Beetlejuice. You guys, if you haven't seen it in a while, watch it. You'll love it again, I promise.
And now shrimp hands on The Lift. I have to grade it on my anticipation. My anticipation is a 10 because holy crap, this sounds amazing. Meg, what would you give it?
I give it a 10 because they have so many great writers. The production value, the music, the voice acting, everything's amazing. And I just feel like a lucky little girl to be part of it.
That's so awesome. Oh, you know what we're talking about next week? I feel like it's kind of in the same vein because is it considered horror? It's horror comedy again. It's your pick, but it was also one of my favorites.
Witches of Eastwick!
So Jack Nicholson, you guys. And my God, I used to watch this movie several times a weekend.
Oh, me too. It was like back in the day when you used to just hit the rewind button and hear the tape go rewind and then just start over again.
Oh my gosh. And I cannot wait for Lisa's drink for that one. My favorite scene, we'll talk about it next week. Okay, we'll see you guys in the horror section.
Yeah, don't talk about it now. Okay, bye.